Newman from Biggleswade always had a desire to help people in other countries. After watching footage of poor people in Kenya, Luke decided he had to go out there and help. He's been travelling over back and forth the last 2 years and plans to go back in May. This is quite a random but lovely story, Luke. So there you were, watching telly, and you thought, I need to make a difference.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me, first of all. Yeah, I think it's been over all my life, really. I think everyone's seen Comic Relief and the footage over in Ethiopia back 35 years ago. And so I wanted to do something about it. And my brother works for Derby County Community Trust. They were approached by a company called African Adventures to send some volunteers out there to Nakuru, which is 80 miles north of Nairobi in Kenya, to go and help out some schools, go and help teach them a few lessons, or could even renovate or build a few things while we're out there. So, yeah, the organisation with the Derby County Community Trust have been going for 5 years now. I joined my father and my brother 2 years ago, going back from a third visit in May. It's a fantastic experience.
In terms of a fantastic experience, what do you discover when you go out there, when you go to Nakuru? It strikes me that this has sort of changed the way you view the world, but in what way?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I actually do remember the first time I went and came home, I went straight for a cup of coffee in a local coffee shop in Biggleswade, and not had a panic attack. If it's the one I'm
thinking of, it's a good coffee shop.
Very much so.
Yes.
I not had a panic attack, but it's sort of a realisation of where I was and what I was doing. 24 hours before, I was in the slums. Where we are, it's just they've got no electricity, no clean water. It's complete opposite that we've got. They've got no technology out there. They've got no mobile. Well, they have got mobile phones, but no smartphones. Very few televisions. It's just a complete opposite of what I live for at the moment. You know, I could open my smartphone and look at today's news. They don't have that option.
Before we look at the tough part, talk to me about the bit that we don't talk enough about. This is a beautiful country, isn't it?
It's absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. We have a 4-hour journey from Nairobi Airport up to Nakuru, and the sights you see is incredible. And it's the wildlife. They've got just free range of animals, zebras.
And it's green, isn't it? We imagine it being
beautiful,
arid.
Absolutely. And they've got I can't remember what it's called now, but you can actually see this open space. I think it's a crater. What you can actually see from space. It's just beautiful. It's just greenery. It's just stunning country. You'll see on the TV. You will see the poor side of it, but nobody really mentions the beautiful side of it. It's a beautiful country. So
you land in a modern airport, you get into a modern car, you drive through a beautiful country, and you arrive in Nakuru.
Yes, it's a bit of an eye-opener. I have to admit, the first time you go in there, it's a bit daunting, a bit wow. But again, you adapt to it. You're there for a reason, and you see the poor people. But then you're willing to do something about it straight away. You want to do something about it. It's the most surreal experience you'll ever do, but again, the most fulfilling experience.
In what way is it surreal?
Because you don't see any of it in this country. We are very lucky in this country. I don't think a lot of people realise how lucky.
Even when we talk about poverty in this country.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. The poverty here, it is bad. I'm not denying that. But out there, it's 10, 15, 20 times worse. They have nothing. They don't have any clothes at all. Like I said, no clean water, no electricity. They live in a 6x6 wall, really, with no bedding, no nothing. So they're living on the floor.
How do they view you, middle-class guy from Biggleswade? I'm making an assumption there, but relatively speaking, middle-class guy from Biggleswade in Bedfordshire turning up in the middle of their village.
They absolutely love it, because they realise what we're doing for them. We're not going there to judge them. We're there to support them. We don't dictate what they shouldn't do. We're there just to support what they're doing there and then. And they embrace you with the children. First time you go into the school, you get a cuddle from a child. You're thinking, I'm not allowed to do that, because over in this country, and rightly so, we're not allowed to do that. There's restrictions, and we totally know that. But over there, they embrace it. They want to feel cuddled and loved.
Do you have to go through checks before you go? Do you have to do the
no, absolutely not. No. I'm checked anyway for many other reasons. Dressing up as mascots, but that's a whole different story. Yeah. But no, you don't have to be checked to go out there. And they do. They just come up to you to cuddle you and feel love. They want to feel warmth. And once you get used to that feeling, it's the best feeling in the world, because you're there just to make the child happy and smile and feel loved just for a couple of weeks while you're there. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
You told me what they don't have. What do they have?
What do they have? They have an education like we do. It's not as good as our education, without a shadow of a doubt. Again, we go there and we will teach basic maths, English, and tell them a little bit of experience of what we do. I sometimes take my music device with me and play music to them, because they do hear music, but it's a different kind of music they listen to. And they love it. They absolutely love it. I remember playing Apache by Sugar Hill Gang, and them just going absolute bananas and teaching them the Will Smith dance.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. What's really good about what we do is that anybody can do this. Anybody who's seen footage on TV, such as from Comic Relief, and I really want to do that, but I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
We go with African Adventures, who are based down in Southampton, and they are simply incredible. It was originally founded by one man called Dan, who is the loveliest man ever, and they said, what we're going to do, we're going to take them to different parts of Africa, and we'll put them in and we'll help people. We won't dictate to them what they do, we'll just support them what they do, and every single penny of donations they get, they go back into it.
Do they want to know about you? Do they ask you whether you've got a girlfriend, whether they ask mum and dad? What do they want to know?
Absolutely.
Well, children, your dad, haven't they?
Sure, yeah, the children are amazing. They actually call my father Papa, because my dad, bless him, it's his birthday today, so happy birthday, Dad. He's 63 now, and he goes out every year. And unfortunately, because of the deprived environment they live at, they don't have any of the medicines or the nutrition in food that we have. A lot of men don't live to that age, so they're thinking he's a king, and so they call him Papa, and it's amazing. But they do ask you about them, about yourself. So I talk about my wife and my 3 children. I've got twin boys. And
football?
Yes, they do, because the Southampton player Wanyama, yeah, they talk about him because he was the first African footballer to play Kenyan footballer to play in the Premiership. They do talk about him, and we're very lucky that we have a person, Rosemary, who's lovely as well. She works for Southampton Football Club, and she brought out some photos of him, and we gave them out to the kids in the street, and they were like, "Wow, this is incredible."
So all the hugging and connecting and human level I get, on a day-to-day basis when you're out there, what is a day for you? Because you're working on the new school, aren't you?
Absolutely, yes. Because there's different schools that we go to, the group they go to, the particular school that I go to, St Teresa's School, a certain amount of people will go to the school, and we'll teach them basic English and maths and just play around with the children. We have a game of football with them. But other parts, because unfortunately St Teresa's School has been sold by the owners of the land, so for the last couple of years we've been building a new school in a different area, 2 or 3 miles away. So it'll be on the new classrooms and even a dormitory for the children who unfortunately haven't got any parents. They do live at the school, so we're building a new kitchen, new toilets. So we're doing that kind of role, and it's again really fulfilling to do that and knowing what to do. But again, with building, it's not as simple as buying the bricks from a building site. You make your bricks there and then. It's out of clay, soil, wet. You leave it in the sun for 3 days, and then you build your classrooms. It's amazing.
How old are your children?
They are 5 at the moment. I've got twin boys who are 5, and I've got my son who's 16, and now he's at that age where he really understands it and is really interested in it.
Well, this is where I was going on this, because we've all been there with our children where we've used variants of the Think of the Children in Africa line, usually sometime around supper time or when they're having a tantrum because they don't like the colour of the laces on their shoes. Have you been able to translate that sense of perspective across to your children?
Well, without a shadow of a doubt, my twin boys, obviously they were 3 when I first went out, and they understand what I do. You talk to them basically saying, listen, this is what Daddy's doing. He's going to help some children who don't have the things you have. They don't have many toys. They don't watch TV. They don't go out and play and do things that you do. And hopefully my wife and myself are bringing them up rightly to understand that they do have things that other children don't. My 16-year-old son now, he's an incredible man who's learning how to do plumbing, but what he's doing now, he's getting his qualification, and hopefully, well, actually not hopefully he will, this time next year,
take it out.
He will be going out and he will use his skills.
Are they happier there than they are here? When you look at these young children, and when you look at what they haven't got in Nakuru, what they have got, what they don't have is they don't have the peer pressure of materialism. They don't have the threats of social media and Facebook and online bullying and online temptations. They perhaps have less to aspire to, although that, of course, shouldn't be the case. And I'm sure that part of your work is to change that. when I say less to aspire to, I mean as in less opportunities for when they turn 18. But are they happier?
I think on one level, absolutely. I think they are really happy, again, because they haven't got much and they don't know what's out there really, what they could have. They are happy with what they got, because there's not much transport out there when they're on bikes. Yeah, I do think they're happier. They don't, again, like you said, they don't have the social media, they don't have websites. But again, on the same way, they may be a little bit upset at the fact that their parents and their siblings, they may not grow up as old as other people around the world do. And again, that's because of the bad nutrition that they have and the environment they live in with no clean water. And
do they ever complain to you? Do they ever say, if only?
No, not at all. I have, obviously I don't have any favourite children who go out there, of course not, but I do have one. But there's a but there. James, who I met last year, not last year, the year before, he was amazing, and we had lots of photos taken with him. So I met him again the year after, and when I first saw him on that second year that I went, we saw each other from about 200 yards away in the playground, and it was like a scene out of a movie because it felt like slow motion. When we both ran to each other, I grabbed hold of him and swung him round, and he said, "I was so afraid, Luke, that you wouldn't remember me," and that was when I broke down.
Notwithstanding all the social, political, technical and logistical reasons for this not to happen, would you love to have one of them come and live with you for 6 months to reverse the flow so that they come and see life in Biggleswade?
Absolutely, I trust them 100% in my house, yeah. Again, they're
no question of trust, but wouldn't you love to show them the culture here?
Yeah. Absolutely, I think if you aspire people to come over to learn about the ways that we work and so they can take it back over to there, without a shadow of doubt, I'd love to.
Be quite an experience for them, wouldn't it? I mean, to see our local culture, to eat our food, see our schools, and then just we could ask them exactly the same questions.
Absolutely.
Whether they feel they're missing out on something or whether actually, ultimately, home is always home. So this charity that you mentioned, their African Adventures, you're saying that if anybody wants to go out there to do something to make a difference, that is a great way of doing it. How does it work? Do you have to pay?
Of course, yeah. You do have to fundraise to go, by all means. It depends on where you go in country and how long you go to as well. So yeah, you do fundraising. I've done for the last 2 or 3 years is I do a craft fairs. I've even got one on the Weather Centre in Biggleswade this weekend, where you do have to raise a certain amount of money to go.
How much?
For me personally, because I'm going away for raising money from afar as well.
Give or take.
Give or take, it's between £1,700 and £2,300, which again is a lot of money. But when you talk to people and tell them what you're doing, the donations do come in. And again, if you do fundraisers where it's good for people to come to and enjoy themselves, then that's how you raise your money. Again, if you speak to the people at African Adventures, they'll be able to help you out with any fundraisers. They give you a guide of how you can fundraise.
www.african-adventures.co.uk, and you're going back in May.
I am, yes. I've actually got a Facebook page called Educate Everyone Everywhere as well, and that's got a little bit of a daily blog of when I was out there as well.
What are you hoping to achieve this time around?
The same. I'd like to get the children into the school this year, into the new school.
That would be amazing if you could. I think it's wonderful that you're putting your money literally where your mouth is, Luke, and going over to this beautiful, beautiful country and really giving those children a chance to enjoy a proper school and proper schooling and give them something else to aspire to. I think it's a great story.
Thank you very much indeed.
It's a pleasure. There's Luke Newman from Biggleswade. You heard what Luke said. Don't just watch it on the telly. Go and do something and make that difference. It's Nick Coffer on BBC Three Counties Radio.